Hello and welcome to the DC Comics Solicitations for April 2022. Here's my reaction video to it. Hopefully I'll do more reacting to the actual solicitations than to the covers, since I did a lot of that last time because I was very excited about covers. But this time I'm very mixed on my reactions. So let's get into it. So we don't have DC Connect yet, but I do have the DC article about DC Connect. So we're going to look at that to see what DC is promoting. It looks like they don't have it because maybe they haven't colored it yet. So there's on the covers Flashpoint Beyond, 0 and number 1, both dropping in April 2022. Written by Jeff Johns, Jeremy Adams, and Tim Sheridan. I really like what Jeremy Adams is doing for The Flash. I don't enjoy what Jeff Johns does or Tim Sheridan, except I did like his Shazam. His Shazam miniseries was actually quite enjoyable to me. Art by Eduardo Riso, who I really don't like. He's got a lot of cachet because of his noir stuff with Brian Azzarello, but I haven't liked any of the short stuff I've read by him. I've read like 5 or 6 stories. And then Zermanico. I think I want to say he's one of the guys who does like a really painted or really rendered style with his pencils, but I can't remember. His cover looks a lot like Dan Mora, but I don't know for sure. All right, so that's one. They also mention the conclusion of the Wonder Woman crossover Trial of the Amazons, the Earth Prime miniseries, which is actually very exciting. It's all the CW shows that are still going, getting a tie-in comic written by writers from the show. So at least the people working on the show will be aware of what happens in the comic. So unlike a lot of other tie-in comics where the people working on the show have no idea what's going on in the show, people who are writing the show are actually aware of it. Justice League 75, Death of Justice League, which I will have much to say when we get to that solicitation. Trial of the Amazons. Interestingly, they also highlight the end of the Robins miniseries by Tim Seeley and Baldomero Rivas. I've actually really been enjoying this. It's actually really built for me. I really liked issues 3 and 4, which are out on the DC Universe app. This cover highlights all the Robins trapped in Jenny Wren's sort of feathered cloak, and she looks very deranged. I really think that she's going to end up being delusional. I really don't think she's actually going to be a Robin. I think she'll be someone who encountered Batman early on and thought she could be Robin, but she wasn't. Maybe I'm wrong, but we'll see. The end of issue number 4 had a really interesting twist about what we thought was a minor villain at the beginning of the series. So, not a whole lot that we know for sure, but interesting highlights that they've got here. Maybe this is just what was ready. I don't know. But that is that. Let me switch to... There we go. All right, so solicitations. Starting with Batman, unsurprisingly. Shadow War has begun in March. Batman is Shadow War Part 2. So I think Deathstroke Inc. is probably Part 1, because I think Robin was the prologue or preface to it. So Shadow War Part 2, we have our covers. Let's just do a full page. Shadow War. So this is Howard Porter. I'm really glad that Howard Porter is just doing covers, because I think it doesn't make my eyes hurt as much on just a cover. It's a nice looking sort of, who is that? I don't recognize that or that. Okay, so the variant covers are Roger Cruz, Gabriel Delato. That's who did the really painted one. And then there's going to be a 1 in 50 variant cover. Not happy about that, although it is an event, so hopefully it'll actually sell through 50 copies, but that's a lot. Text says, Ra's al Ghul is dead and Talia is out for revenge. Makes sense. Batman is on the case to find Deathstroke before Talia's elite killers do. Why? Like, Batman doesn't save everyone, and Deathstroke can take care of himself. So, I don't know. Batman starts to piece together that not everything is what it seems in Raz's death, and knows whom he must interrogate to get answers, Talia herself. Can the two former lovers ever work together again? Plus, a backup tale showing the secret first fight between Batman and Deathstroke. So this is something that Josh Williamson was talking about on one of his interviews about Batman. He was writing a past set Batman backup. Pretty cool. I'd be interested to see how this works. I've not been super impressed with how Williamson's writing Bruce himself, though. He's done a really good job writing Damian, not so much Bruce. And I don't know how he's going to write Talia. So I'm mixed on this one. Deathstroke Inc. Part number 8, Shadow War Part 3, are by Paola Pantalina. I don't actually know that one. Let's take a look at the covers. We've got John Boy Myers. This is Deathstroke and Respawn, I think. And Deathstroke by himself. Deathstroke with a huge gun. I really wish they were still doing the Rebirth cover costume. I like that for Associations, but I think it's a really sleek design. All this really bulky stuff, I don't find it that impressive. So Deathstroke and Respawn on the run. So interestingly, he's writing them as parts. He's writing all the parts, and he's writing them as chapters. But he's at least the solicitations are focusing on the title character. We'll see if he actually holds through with that. I like that. It's clever. So Batman focuses on Batman and Talia, Batman villain. Deathstroke focuses on Deathstroke and Respawn running away from Talia. So Deathstroke Inc. has been destroyed. I wonder how long that means Deathstroke Inc. the title is going to last. And his villain associates killed by the demon Shadows. That'll be Talia's assassins. Deathstroke must explain to Batman why he killed Ra's al Ghul, but first he must survive the hundreds of different killers. So this is probably going to be kind of a slog, but I could be wrong. But I feel like it's just going to be Deathstroke killing a bunch of dinges. Robin, number 13, Shadow War Part 4. And remember, this is going to be, I think, 6 parts plus an alpha. And that was it. Alpha. Yeah. And a Shadow. Okay, so sorry. I'm very interested to see what Shadow War Zone has. We'll see. Because that's going to be an anthology like Joker Warzone, which I thought was really fun. Interesting that they didn't do Fear. I guess Fear State Zone doesn't make as much sense, but they could have done something. Instead, they did a bunch of secret files. I don't know. Shadow War Part 4. Robin and Ravager have caught up with Deathstroke and Respawn. Can they convince Deathstroke to turn himself in or fight to the death? And what starting revelation does Robin learn that shocks this story to its core? Plus, Batman goes deep into the conspiracy behind Ra's al Ghul's death and discovers it's bigger than he thought. He must call in backup, just not the backup you expect. So apparently there's some mystery about why. Sorry. So apparently there's some big mystery with the death of Ra's. I like that, again, is focusing on Robin and Ravager, who are big characters. Let's see. The covers are Roger Cruz, Crystal Kung, and a linking variant. All right, the linking variants. Okay, so here's our main cover by Roger Cruz. I like it. It's really interesting how they've really set a strong tone with Gleb Melnikov's art, and all the artists who are coming in after him are really trying to fit into that. That's not super usual, I think. Or I wish it were more usual. Here's the linking cover. So the 3 covers in April are going to be Batman, Deathstroke, and Robin. They're all by Roger Cruz. And I like that. Kind of generic. Oh, that's nice. Is that Matteo Scalera? I like that cover. Okay, so who does that other color? Oh, that's the Crystal Kung one. Oh, that's really nice. Well, is that? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Crystal Kung. Okay. Batman Beyond Neo Year number 1, written by Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing. Art and cover by Max Dunbar. Variant by Christian Ward. 1 in 25. 1 in 100 cover by Jim Chung. That is greed right there. I'm really frustrated by this incentive. I sort of understand the 1 in 25. Asking a comic shop to buy 25 number ones isn't too bad. I like the Batgirls comic a lot. I'm really frustrated that they're still asking shops to buy 25 copies. My shop bought at least 25 copies to get the variants, and they're not selling. And that really disappoints me because I love Batgirls, and I want that to last at least 2 years. But if they do this, they're going to build a lot of ill will from stores by having a lot of product they can't move. You have to, incentives build false expectations. And I really don't think the Batman Beyond demand is at 100 copies per store. So, Neo Gotham is alive and has killed Bruce Wayne. It's rejected Terry McGinnis as Batman and offered him a chance to escape. Terry turned it down. He is the city's protector, and he will uphold the legacy of Batman. Now, Neo Gotham will do everything in his power to destroy Terry, including creating brand new villains to fight him. Terry's first year without Bruce Wayne begins. Does he have a fighting chance? From Rising Star, they've been writing for like 5 years. Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing and Max Dunbar. New future for Batman Beyond has begun. I don't have any attachment to Batman Beyond. The story, they did an urban legends story to introduce this. It was fine, but I just don't really care. I don't have a connection to Terry because I didn't watch the show. I've only watched Return of the Joker in like 1 or 2 episodes. I don't trust this team to do really sort of the kind of harder sci-fi cyberpunk that I enjoy, more like William Gibson. This is probably going to be an inferior copy of Matrix style cyberpunk, and Matrix is fine, but a lot of it rests on just the technical expertise of the first movie. So I'm just not excited, and part of that is just I'm not into Batman Beyond, and there's a lot of Batman Beyond going on this month. Batman Killing Time number 2, Tom King and David Marquez. This is a 6-part miniseries. It's got 3 variants. Main cover by artist David Marquez, who's doing interiors. Cale New, who's doing a variant, cardstock variant. And then the 1 in 25 variant by Ben Oliver. I really don't like Ben Oliver's art. Everything seems the same with him. And not in a way I like. I guess if I liked it, everything being the same wouldn't be bad, because I like Art Germ and Josh Middleton. And those are all like, they feel the same. But, okay. So, the epic continues and blood will spill. Catwoman and Riddler have pulled off the perfect crime and are now in possession of the most valuable object in the DCU. But how long can they hold onto it with not only the Batman on their tail, but also a terrifying new villain known simply as The Help? That's a kind of weird name. I do love this Marquez cover. Kale Nagu, Batman versus Croc. Looks like Derek Chu, a little less rendered. I like the rendering better in Derek Chu. And then this is the Riddler variant by Ben Oliver. Well, it actually looks less the same. I can tell it's Ben Oliver, but only because I know. I don't think I would guess if it weren't that. I like the shadows. This is actually a pretty cool cover. Not a 1 in 25, which means it was somewhere between $10 and $25. Detective Comics 1059. So this is the first issue after the weekly Shadows of the Bat event. And there's some weird things going on with this. So it's written by Marco Tamaki and co-written by Nadia Shamas. I haven't read anything by Nadia Shamas, and I don't know anything about her. Art is by Ivan Reis, I think, and Danny Miki. Danny Miki doing ink, so it's nice to see an inker getting work. Backup by Sina Grace. Not a big fan of that. I haven't enjoyed anything I've read by Sina Grace. He seems like a really excitable and passionate guy, but I haven't enjoyed what he's written. I was kind of interested to see what he'd do with Kyle Rayner, Green Lantern, because I love Kyle, and he seemed to have a real passion for that in the round robin. But I did not. He's writing Gotham Girl in a backup here, and I think it's really interesting that DC is giving another writer a chance to play with the toy that Tom King created, but I don't get a sense that a lot of people are clamoring for it. This is a very strange choice to me. And David Lapham is doing the backup art. Well, David Lapham is doing a ton of backup art, which makes my friends who like David Lapham from City of Crime happy, but he's fine, but I'm not super excited. I'd rather have like Jorge Fornes. He's a much bigger name, I think. Even though David Lapham was a big name back in the day, it feels like David Lapham's trying to like build his way back into comics, get himself some recognition by doing these backups. He's doing a lot of backups and a couple like one shots, and that probably will give him more. He's probably trying to build his name up so he can get like an indie project that can really get his name out there. And then I don't know, because he hasn't done a ton in comics until this last couple of years. So anyway, all right, let's read the solicitation text. Riddle me this. When is a criminal not a criminal? The answer awaits you in the start of a brand new Detective Comics story arc from writer Maruko Tamaki, guest co-writer Nadia Shamas, and legendary artist Ivan Reis. Love the fact that Reis is actually staying on the title after the weekly. He's only doing like the first 2 or 3 issues of the weekly because weeklies are brutal, and it's a 3-month span, so that would make sense. But him coming back after the weekly is really cool. And I think he did a great job on those first couple issues of Shadow of the Bat. The Riddler is back in Gotham City in a big way, becoming a media personality and using his newfound influence to wreak havoc on the Dark Knight. As Batman chases down clues to put an end to Riddler's machinations, the clock ticks away for the citizens of Gotham, whom Edward Nygma has placed in the line of fire. Honestly, it sounds kind of typical. I used to really hate the Riddler because Riddler stories were just Batman has to follow the clues. And I hate that kind of puzzle because it's so artificial. It's like, I don't enjoy it at all. I prefer it when a criminal leaves clues he doesn't know he's leaving. The Riddler is just like, I'm smarter than everybody. But he's not, because he always loses. This feels like a very typical Riddler story in a way that I don't enjoy. But we'll see. Mariko Tamaki has done a very good job so far. We'll see if she can pull it off. I don't know how much she's doing, though, because this is co-written. Gotham Girl Interrupted, Part 1, and they did a whole article on this of 3, so it's a 3-part backup. Superpowered Claire Clover, aka Gotham Girl, returns to the city that helped ruin her life to get psychiatric treatment at the new Arkham Tower. But when Gotham Girl's newfound semblance of normalcy is rocked by a murder mystery, she finds someone unexpected at the heart of the crime, herself. This will be interesting. I wonder if it's a prequel, because Arkham Tower, I imagine, is probably going to fall down at the end of Shadows of the Bat. So let's go to the main cover. So actually, this cover by Ivan Reis and Danny Miki is really cool because you've got the green of these clothes forming a question mark for the Riddler around Batman. Really cool visual design. A little, not too subtle because you can tell, but it took a little while for me to figure out what it was. And once I figured it out, I thought, that's really cool. I like that. Whoops. Arleigh Bermejo, classic Riddler. I don't like that Riddler. He looks really generic. And then Gotham Girl. For some reason, she's put the G on her shoulder instead of on her chest. She had sort of like a Robin when she was playing Robin to Flashpoint Batman. I like the fact that she's sort of in a control room. I really hate that haircut. I don't like the haircut on anyone, male or female. I didn't like it when Gotham Girl cut her hair in Tom King's run, because I just don't like buzz cuts, again, on men or women. I don't like that haircut. But I'm interested. We'll see. I am intrigued, but I'm also not super excited. Batman Superman World's Finest, Mark Waid and Dan Mora variant by Tim Sale. They're doing a 50, so not another 100, but they were doing 100. Jorge Jimenez on the 1 in 50. Pete Woods doing a 125. So Pete Woods is pretty cool. The Man of Steel and Dark Knight have arrived at the compound of Niles Calder, the chief in charge of that strange band of misfits known as the Doom Patrol. Don't care. But all is not as it seems. While Batman works with Niles to cure Superman of his freakish transformations, a side mission to track down a mysterious figure known as the Demon attracts the Dark Knight's attention, and moreover, it could have some connection to Superman's poisoning at the hands of Metallo. It's danger, intrigue, and the surprise appearance of Deadman in Chapter 2 of World's Finest. So here is our Dan Mora main cover, and lots of Doom Patrol there. Here is Jorge Jimenez 1 in 50. That feels really generic. I wish I knew what Jorge Jimenez's next project was, because he said he wasn't leaving Batman, but he's not on any of the Batman we've seen from Williamson so far, because the event, it makes sense. They want to do a different team for the event. They're not doing any A-list talent for the event, though, that I can remember. All right. That looks like... I don't recognize that. And Tim Sale. It's okay. I feel like Sale's done better, but I don't know. There's more going on than I thought. You've got the Metropolis on the right, the Gotham on the left. Oh, yeah, it's a little better than I thought at first glance. Okay, so who is that other cover by? Pete Woods. How is Pete Woods? Pete Woods. Yeah, I guess it is. It's a lot more rendered than I'm used to seeing by Pete Woods, but very nice. I like Pete Woods. Batman Beyond the White Knight. More Batman Beyond. This is number 2 of 8, and there's going to be a 2-issue spin-off about Jason Todd. The humble beginnings of Terry McGinnis are revealed as Bruce Wayne becomes Gotham's most wanted man. With the GTO on the case, does Captain Dick Grayson have what it takes to bring down his old mentor? It's father versus son in the next chapter of this fan-favorite series. Plus, an unexpected ally from Bruce's past could hold the key to saving the future. Harley Quinn is back and ready to knock you out. This is fine. I've been a little disappointed by all except the Harley Quinn miniseries and the Von Freeze one-shot from White Knight. I just don't like his endings. I feel like they just don't mean a whole lot to me, except for the Harley Quinn one, because I think Harley and the Joker were the most interesting characters he's in. I wish this seemed... Part of me is interested to see the different takes that Sean Murphy has on the other characters, but part of me just says, focus on Harley and Bruce. Those are the most interesting characters you've been able to write. And I really wish he'd get a co-writer, because I know he's got this thing where he's like, I don't want to work with any other writers. But I don't think he is the kind of writer who can match the brilliance of his art. I think if you could find a writer who's really good at character and theme and structure, who would let Murphy draw, who would really, if you could find a writer who really could boost up the parts where Murphy is weak, which are structure and dialogue and endings, which is structure. If you could find a co-writer who could do that and not get in the way of Murphy's brilliant layouts and just choices with his art, I really think that would be better. I'm just disappointed because he's such a great artist, and I wish he could work with writers who are of the caliber of, like, I know he has a relationship with Scott Snyder, but like Tom King or Frank Miller or, just a writer who has the ability to really do those structure and dialogue things that Murphy is really weak on. And also maybe tell him not to do some of the crazy stuff. So here's another bunch of Flashpoint stuff. I've never read Flashpoint. I do not ever intend to read Flashpoint. I'm not planning on reading this Flashpoint. So basically that's all you need to know. This is Jeff Johns. Seems weird, because this is colored, but the DC Nation one isn't. All right, so Flashpoint. And the number 1 is Jeff Johns, Jeremy Adams, and Tim Sheridan. I hope that's how they plan to actually get the book out on time. I wonder if this is going to be a 6-month thing or twice a month thing. I don't know. They're doing a 0 and a 1, so it's technically 7 issues. I think that's cheating. Again, variant covers by a bunch of crazies. Like a crazy number of variant covers. Again. Fastest Man Alive. And this is, interestingly, a prequel to the Flash movie, written by Kenny Porter and art by Ricardo Lopez Ortiz. So he's the guy who did the Ghostmaker annual and backups. Cover by Max Fiumara, variant cover by Andy Machete. That's not out yet. Race the streets of Central City in this lead-in to the hotly anticipated blockbuster The Flash. After Barry's adventure with the Justice League, he's determined to become a truly skilled and inspirational hero. As a new threat emerges in Central City going by the name of Girder, Barry turns to Batman for advice on training to master his powers. Can the Dark Knight help show the Scarlet Speedster a way to defeat this metallic menace, or will the Flash be crushed by Girder's strength? Obviously, he won't be crushed because he's in the movie. This is an interesting cover. Of course, it doesn't give us an idea of what's going to be in it. It doesn't really look like the movie. The costume looks like cloth instead of the weird silica pattern. The Batman costume looks a bit more. I can see how he got that sort of Justice League look and the big bat copying the Frank Miller look. I don't know. It doesn't quite look like it's as strongly connected to the movie as I think it could be. But it's cool that they're doing this kind of thing. I like the tie-ins. And there's another one that I'm much more excited about, which is next, Earth Prime #1. So there's going to be 6-part miniseries, all of the CW superhero shows for DC are getting a tie-in comic, and each one's going to have members of the writing staff writing for it. So the first two are this one, Earth Prime 1, which is Batwoman, and Earth Prime #2, which is Superman and Lois. So this one, Batwoman, I don't really watch. The first two covers are by Kim Jacinto. So they're very dramatic. I don't really like the fisheye lens effect that she's got, but they're very dramatic. So Batwoman, Ryan Wilder is going to be fighting, and Luke Fox is a boyfriend of somebody. Does that mean he's dating that Mary lady? I can't remember. Well, I don't know because I'm not remembering. And Clayface is binding himself to a local high schooler. I don't know. Like I said, I don't really read Batwoman. I mean, I don't watch it. So I'm not planning on getting that. I will get Earth Prime #2, written by Adam Malinger, better known as Bitterscript Reader on Twitter. And he is one of the writers, and he's been very open about the stuff he's written and how he got promoted to staff writer. Very exciting for him. It's also written by Jay Jamieson and Andrew Wong. I think those might be writing assistants that he's talked about. They may have gotten promoted to writers. Art by Tom Grummett. I'm really excited about that. Inking by Norm Ratmund. Really cool. It's covered by Tim Jacinto. I mean, you can see sort of that he's got the sort of Tyler Hoechlin's sort of 5 o'clock shadow, which I have right now because I didn't shave. It's like a thing that sets him apart. He's got a very heavy beard, and so even though when he's always clean shaven, it does show up more, and that's a very interesting thing. And then you got the kids, although it doesn't make sense because it says it's their first wedding anniversary, and they didn't have kids before they were married, at least according to the flashback episode. They're trying to find their rhythm as heroics and reporting continue to spoil their plans. And plus, learn the true origins of evil Superman from John Henry's world. Interesting choice. I don't know if I really wanted to know that, but I'm excited about this. This is a 48 pager. So that means, are these both 48 pagers? Yes. 48 pagers. I wonder if that means they're going to have backups. And these are going to be $6. These are going to be more expensive. And they will have photo variant covers. I don't know. I kind of like this, even though it doesn't look at all like the show. I kind of like that. It's a fun little cover. All right, Wonder Woman number 786, Trial of the Amazons Part 5. This is Becky Cloonan, Michael Conrad, and Jordi Belair's writing the backups. Rosie Kempe. Tensions rise as the tribes compete with one another to determine the future of the Amazons. But a lot more than just glory is on the line. Immortality is too. Little do they know someone is pulling every string behind Doom's doorway. Who could it be? Artemis, Nubia, Wonder Woman, Donna, Cassie knocked out, Apollo knocked out, Yara Floor, and Paulina Gancho, it looks like, doing the variant. Trial of the Amazons, Wonder Girl 2. So this series is ending, and it's they're doing Trial of the Amazons, hopefully to bump up the sales, I guess. Cassie Sandmarks has discovered the culprit and is shocked to learn that as one of their own, justice must be served. But as tradition dictates, nothing can interrupt the trial once it's underway. Now it's up to Esqueda and their headstrong leader, Yara Flor, to take a stand for what is right. The future of the Amazons depends on it. Interlocking main covers to commemorate this big moment in Wonder Girl history. Big moment being what? The end of her series? Seems like a kind of bummer. Trial of the Amazons number 2. And this is the final chapter. So this is like their Alpha and Omega. I wish they'd done Alpha and Omega. Just keep your branding consistent so people know. If you did Alpha and Omega, everyone would know because that's what you've done for all your other crossovers in the last 2 years. But no, it's number 1 and 2. Although they had the same problem with the War for Earth 3. I wish they'd done Alpha and Omega for that too. So maybe it's just Batman events that get Alpha and Omegas. Keep your branding consistent as a company, not just as a one office. I guess that's part of the problem because Wonder Woman doesn't have an office, even though they do have 3 titles right now. All right. And this is all the writers. So Stephanie Williams, Vita Ala from Nubia, Becky Cloonan and Michael Conrad from Wonder Woman, and Joelle Jones from Wonder Girl. And art by Joel Jones, Elena Casagrande, Skylar Partridge, and Laura Braga. That's a lot of art. A lot of art is for just 40 pages, which is only like 8 pages longer than a normal comic. So probably a 30-page comic with 10 pages of ads. We'll see. I do love this Jim Chung cover, though. All right, Justice League number 75, written by Joshua Williamson, art by Rafa Sandoval, cover by Dan Semper. Variant covers by Alex Maleev, Dan Jurgens, Norm Ratman, and Mikhail Hanin. I am a little interested in buying the Dan Jurgens cover because it has Steph on it, but I hate everything about this. So let me read the solicitations and then explain why I'm upset. Oversized special issue. Superstar writer Joshua Williamson pens the beginning of the next big DCU event. It all starts here. A new dark army made up of DCU's greatest villains has formed on the edges of the multiverse. The DCU's best and most powerful heroes are pulled together in an epic war to push the darkness back, but in the end, they are no match for it. That's right, you heard it here first. The Justice League are killed by the Dark Army, with only one survivor to warn the remaining heroes of Earth about what is coming for them. Final issue of Justice League at number 75, after the relaunch with Scott Snyder's run after Metal in, I want to say, 2018. Yes. So 2018 to 2022, 4 years, 75 issues, a lot of double shipping there because 4 years would technically just be 48 issues, and they have an additional 27 issues. So yeah, they did a full 2 years of double shipping there. So here's the Alex Ross trying to really go for that serious look. It's fine. Here's the Dan Jurgens ones, which I'm kind of interested in because, as I said, it's got Steph and it's cute and it's Dan Jurgens, and I appreciate that Dan Jurgens does this kind of cool stuff. That he just puts everything. You got Dr. Light, lots of cool little characters. I don't know where any of these people are appearing, but it's nice to see them. Oh, and here's Cast too, and Tim and Khan and Damien, which is very cool. Like that, nice. But is it worth? So that would be a card stock. Oh, they're all on card stock. So $6.99, $7 for a cover. I'll have to see if I like it. I really don't like the cover. I don't like more death. I appreciate that they're thinning the line, but I don't care about this, and I don't like character death because either it's something that's going to be undone relatively quickly or eventually, which decreases stakes because every time like people, I want stakes. But if you kill people, then you bring them back. So it's like you got to figure out a better way to do stakes. Of course, then they do like breakups or I don't know. I think stakes should be thought of differently than death or injury. All right, so variant cover, Simone DeMeo. And here's the they are doing an acetate cover. That's a really weird placement of Superman's hand over Wonder Woman's breastplate. Batman, only Batman, kind of odd. And Nice Shadows by Mikhail Hanin. Like the concept. Got a Dark Knight Returns lightning going on. And here's a classic. Everyone's about to face some real big stuff. And I wish it was Hawkwoman and not Hawkgirl. But that's the Hawkgirl from the Snyder run. Makes sense, but I don't like it. All right. So, really frustrated. Not happy at all at what they're doing. Especially because there's all this fear that DC was going to replace all their heroes with 5G. And now we know 5G is not happening, but they're putting some of the plans in place through Future State. Most of the Future State stuff is now either done or just they've ignored it. But this is just going to start all the rumors again. If they're killing the Justice League, they're replacing everyone. I'm like, unforced error. You didn't need to feed those rumors. All right. Naomi season 2. This is cool. Says that Naomi's friend and mentor D is missing, and she's trying to figure out. So it's a mystery. And apparently he's a Thanagarian warrior, and Hawkgirl is showing up from the Justice League. And they're advertising that as a TV show. Oh, that's mysterious. Looks like Midnighter, but it might be a villain. And this is the original creative team of Bendis, Walker, and Campbell. I do like that. Campbell's art, of course, is amazing. I like the fact that they're bringing in Thanagar. That's kind of a cool thing. I got into Hawkman a bit with, the Vendetti Hawkman series. I'm still not super into it, but Thanagar has more interest to me now. It always takes a new series that really hooks you to get you into things you weren't. Sandman Universe, Nightmare Country #1, James Tynion IV, doing a 1 in 100 cover. They're really hoping for those Netflix people to say, "Oh, I want to read a comic." Now here's the thing. So it says, today the Corinthian walks the earth again. The most feared of all dreams, nightmares, his ravenous mouths, which are in his eyes, have made him a legend among serial killers. Letting the Corinthian out among mortals is the most dangerous thing Dream could possibly do, but he has no choice, because there is another nightmare walking the earth, one that must be hunted, and that monster is one that Dream, Lord of all nightmares, did not make. So, quite honestly, maybe I'm wrong, but quite honestly, James Tynion said he had 3 years planned for Joker. He only got to finish 1 year. This feels like he's taking very similar ideas of a manhunt and monsters fighting monsters, like human monsters fighting monsters, and recycling or repurposing them for this context. I love Joker. I don't like the Corinthian. Sorry, when I say I love Joker, I mean I love Jim Gordon. I don't like the title. I don't like the title character. I don't like Joker at all. But Jim Gordon, I love. And I love how it's a manhunt of Jim Gordon hunting for the Joker, because that's just Jim Gordon finally getting his due after 3 years of getting abused for no good reason. I don't know the main artist of this. I'm quite honestly not super excited about this, because the Corinthian is one of my least favorite parts of the whole Sandman mythos. I do like Sandman, but I don't like the Corinthian. I don't like the fact that he's wearing an America mask. I feel like that's trying to be edgy and political. I don't understand why he has... Oh, I see. It's upside down mouth. I thought it was 2 mouths. Okay, I see what it is doing. It looks odd. That cover looks... The eye mouth looks weird. All right. Doing a bunch of Sandman tie-in marketing. Bunch of Sandman. Nice House on the Lake. Haven't been reading that. Ruby Justice League trade. Superman's and Cal trade. Midnighter Crush and Lobo. Aquaman the Beginning. Teen Titans Go Undead. Here we go. Action. So I'm not reading Action. People really like it. I really like the Totino Tedesco covers. Really cool stuff. Look at that. That's gorgeous. And then the Federici covers are also cool. It's Federici. Yeah, he's doing art and cover. Very nice. Green Target, Aquaman, Green Arrow, Deep Target #7. Now, I wasn't a super big fan of the first issue, and I haven't kept up with the series after that, because it was a body swap issue, and that felt too goofy 90s, early 2000s. It did feel like an honest homage to those kind of pulpy adventures that like Chuck Dixon used to write in Birds of Prey. And it was good. Brandon Thomas did a good job, but this just didn't grip me. So this is it. Everything has led our heroes at this moment in time. Aquaman and Green Arrow must beat the clock to take down Scorpio and reset the timeline. If their aim is off by even an inch, all will be lost. Okay, so it's a timeline thing. So it's even more... This is gorgeous cover, but it looks like they haven't changed the fact that they're still body swapped. So I'm just kind of frustrated, because I wanted to really be into that, but it didn't. Aquaman #3, Chuck Brown and Brandon Thomas. I really like this cover of Aquaman under the harbor. This is Jackson Hyde Aquaman, and it's got that bat signal. Really cool cover. Really cool idea of Aquaman hanging out and finding an ally. I wonder if it's going to be Tim Drake, because Brandon Thomas did a lot with Tim Drake. Could be someone else, but I feel like it might be Tim Drake because of the Brandon Thomas connection. I really don't like the fact that they have 3 Aquaman miniseries and an Aquaman ongoing. I strongly believe that they should have done this all as an Aquaman title, and they should have just done it as arcs, because it's the same creative teams. You would have gotten more out of it. And I mean, they just did a thing where they said that only 2 comics that were not Batman cracked the top 50. That's not super untypical of DC. DC is always ever since the New 52's third year when they dropped behind Marvel and they haven't been able. Actually, I take that. I think they were able to retake with Rebirth, but Rebirth's domination of the market only lasted a year. Marvel took it back again. If they just done one Aquaman, and maybe they could do a backup so they could have multiple stories running at once, because they seem to like that idea with Aquaman. But the market is not here for 4 Aquaman titles at the same time. It is not here. But if you had one Aquaman title with a backup, and yeah, it'd be more expensive, but you're still asking for less than 2 books a month or 4 books a month. $5 a book for a book and a backup. And you could have had this storyline going on. And I don't know, maybe they thought that the stories were too frustrating. But if the stories are too frustrating to sustain an ongoing, why are you telling them? Like, tell it as an ongoing story, because it clearly isn't, because they're marketing them as leading into Aquaman. Instead of doing 3 miniseries and an ongoing, do one ongoing. It is the same creative team, so you can just do it as the ongoing with maybe a backup so you can get multiple stories. Ongoings sell generally better than miniseries. Now, it's not that miniseries can't sell, but I think even a low-selling ongoing tends to sell better and has more chance to grow than a miniseries. All right, and Batgirls number 5. Same creative team as before. Batgirls and Tudor face off again, but this time at the creepy abandoned Arkham Asylum. So Arkham Tower is still apparently a thing, so Arkham Asylum is still not being used. Can the Batgirls stop Tudor from using his art to pull all of Gotham into a mind-controlled trance? Let's hope the Batgirls found a way to avoid being put under his control again. Meanwhile, Babs' hands are tied, literally, when she comes face to face with Spellbinder. So we've got 2 villains. This looks like Spellbinder. Babs caught in the web. Steph's still under control. Not good. And Cass feeling alone. This is the main cover. I don't like this cover as much. It's a little too busy for me. I wonder if they're going to put the Batgirls here or here. Feels like they could do it either way. I am going to get this Michael Cho variant. I think it's gorgeous. I really love this cover. I hope that his 3rd cover features Steph, because this one has Steph, but it features Cass. The first one featured Cass and Steph together equally. So this one features Cass. So hopefully the next one features Steph. I love the digital painted, really nicely rendered, but thicker lines with Michael Cho. He's got that Silver Age type of line work, or it's faux Silver Age, sort of like Darwin Cook or Cameron Stewart. This reminds me a lot of Josh Williamson, but with thicker lines. And so I love the fact that he's doing this. He's only doing 3 covers, so that's a little disappointing. But those 3 covers are, the 2 covers we got so far are gorgeous. And so here's our incentive cover. I really dislike the fact that they're doing incentives, but these are just so cute. These covers are really cute. The attitude is great. The fact that there's explosions and the capes and they're dancing, it's just really cute. So Ryan Gonzalez does a great job. I just wish they weren't putting her on incentives. Batman the Night, a.k.a. Batman Begins the Comic by Chip Zdarsky and Carmine Dean Giandomenico. The first issue of this was fine. Bruce Wayne's journey to become Batman continues in the cold mountains of North Korea. North Korea, not Nanda Parbat. That's an interesting choice. Where he seeks to learn the legendary fighting style of Master Kirigi. This will be his most difficult challenge yet. He might not survive without the help of a mysterious new friend. I wonder if that friend will be Ghostmaker, because we know now that Ghostmaker was part of that training process. We'll have to see. Batman Urban Legends number 14. I don't know if this is after the first. So the most recent issue in December. No. I don't remember if I think the January issue came out, but these have 4 stories. 2 of them were 6 parts. 2 of them were 3 parts. I think this one might be after the 3 parts are done. So we're getting Batman and Zatanna. That's the Vita Ayala story continuing. Ace the Bat Hound and the Super Pets. That's the Mark Russell story continuing. Birds of Prey led by Lady Shiva and Katana. They've also hinted that Miracle Molly and the New Ghost, which was created in an earlier Urban Legend story, and this is written by Chi Grayson. And a team up between Batman and the Question, written by Ryan Cady. I don't remember what Ryan Cady's written. Someone pointed out that Katana was in Birds of Prey in New 52. Lady Shiva was in Birds of Prey in the middle of Gail Simone's run. I strongly believe neither of them is anywhere close to being identified with the Birds of Prey. Katana is much more identified with either the Outsiders or the Suicide Squad. Lady Shiva is a Question type character who tends to be sort of like a Gotham type villain, but international. She did have a great starring part as an antagonist, not a villain, but an antagonist in Birds of Prey. Well, no, I'm going to say it. She's a villain. She murders. She doesn't care that she murders. There are no Birds of Prey on this team. Birds of Prey, the core members are Oracle, Black Canary, and Helena Bertinelli Huntress. The fact that the movie destroyed the idea that Oracle should be part of the Birds of Prey, when in fact she should be the core, is really bad. But the fact that they're trying to do a new Birds of Prey in Urban Legends, I'm just intensely frustrated. This could be a Ravens book. Ravens is the female villain team that was an antagonist of the Birds of Prey early on during the Chuck Dixon days. This could be a Ravens team. This could be a brand new IP. You could do a new female anti-hero team. Instead, you're trying to get money from the Birds of Prey, but you've destroyed the Birds of Prey with the movie because the movie has nothing to do with the comics, so there's discontinuity, and fans who like the movie don't get anything from Birds of Prey. Fans who like Birds of Prey don't get anything from the movie. You have destroyed brand synergy. You've destroyed the IP of Birds of Prey. You need to let it go unless you're willing to actually do decent Birds of Prey. And unfortunately, the last Birds of Prey comic during Rebirth, it was not bad, but it definitely wasn't good either. It was very lowest common denominator comics, and that was very disappointing to me. Okay, so that is my frustration. Here's the Birds of Prey cover by Kim Jacinto with Batman on it for some reason. And Bathound. All right. Batman Catwoman number 11, Tom King and Clayman. Clayman apparently on track to do the last 3 issues. This is the second to last issue. All covers cardstock, $5 for 22 pages. This is not 20 pages. I would be really mad for that. But this is a very expensive comic per page. I love this cover by Clayman. This is gorgeous. This is what I like about Clayman. Travis Charest, and we've got Jim Lee pencils. All right. So after barely escaping with one of her 9 lives, Selina arrives at a crossroads. Now, we don't know in which timeline this is. She can either continue on a path of a criminal or take a chance at being a hero like Batman. There's just one thing she has to do: make a vow to never kill the Joker. But what could lead her to break that sacred promise years later? Find out in the penultimate issue of this critically acclaimed maxi series. I'm really liking this. I really hope that Tom King finds a more sweet note to end, because this has been a very bitter comic. And I think Batman being bittersweet is fine, but I want some sweetness because I really love the sweetness that Tom King had in the Batman run. Now, I've had a chance to read the Batman Catwoman special, and I know he can still do it because I thought that was a really good comic. But this comic I have been liking, but if it goes the same direction as Strange Adventures did, I will be very disappointed. Blue and Gold number 8, ending. So this is all about a virus hitting the servers. I like these fake magazine quotes from characters. This has been a fun series. Art and cover by Ryan Sook, so good. Still Ryan Sook. Been some delays because Ryan Sook is not the fastest artist, but his stuff is gorgeous. Catwoman number 42. Tina Howard, Nico Leon, covered by Jeff Dick Hall. You know what they say, some are going to love you, some are going to hate you, but it doesn't matter as long as they need you. Black Mask wants to be the dirty little secret of the Gotham underworld, but Catwoman's even better at being a secret when she needs to be. Thankfully, she's not afraid to have a little help from Valmont, Onyx, and the newly minted Tomcat. exactly the kind of guy to let her in the house. So this is, I believe, Valmont and Catwoman in a very romantic pose, which will make my co-host on TBU very upset. I'm annoyed because DC ordered James Tynion to break up Catwoman and Batman. And Ram V played with the romantic tension. He also played with other romantic partners for Catwoman, but this is a cool cover. I'm not denying that. And it's very romance tropey for this comic, which seems to be very I don't need no man type. I don't know. I'm getting really mixed messages. Here's a very classy, well, maybe less classy with those garters. And the incentive variant. I don't think that incentive variant looks very incentive-y. I like the fact that we don't have obvious armpit holes. Well, I guess there are armpit holes, but I don't like the armpit holes. I don't like the Joelle Jones design or the thing. Dark Knights of Steel. Dan Moore doing cover. Yasmin Putri still doing the interiors. I really don't like this series. I don't think it's interesting. I think it's really shallow and all Easter eggs. So I don't enjoy it. Future State Gotham number 12. Final showdown with Next Joker by Jason Todd and Next Batman, which, again, we are 1 year into this story, 12 issues, and they've only focused on either Joker people or Next Batman and Jason Todd. I feel like they really should have had a rotating cast of characters. So you could have gotten Cass and Steph, and then Tim and Duke. Like there's tons of future state you could explore, but instead it's narrowly focused on Jason and Next Batman, and that does not interest me after the first arc because they haven't done anything. It's just facing threats and just this title could have been really interesting. I was very interested in it, but they had focused on the least interesting parts of it for me, and I am disappointed. And I wish they would put colors on it, but it's still black and white. Oh, they do say Nightwing becomes something new because we know Nightwing's going to do bunches of drugs to find Damian for Talia. That's all we know so far. But I wish that were the main plot because it would be 100 times more interesting than fake Joker and more Batman next Batman. Harley Quinn, number 14. Stephanie Phillips and Riley Rossmo continue. And it looks like Harley is going to be in prison. And this is very busy, but I like this cover. Lots of details. I'd love to just look and think. So she's in prison. She's got tons of prison tats, which are kind of hilarious. I love to look at because she's got PhD and the card symbols and ouch on her throat because that's where punchline cut her. Like it's just interesting. And she got really long hair for some reason. That cover fascinates me. And then there's Harley Quinn beating up a cop with a donut. That's a little stereotypical, but kind of funny. I Am Batman number 8, John Ridley, Christian Duce. I wish they put Christian Duce on Flash. Give John Ridley Fernando Pasaran. Come on. Still doing 1 in 25 variants for this one, too, at number 8. That's not good. Campaign of Terror continues. Mysterious serial killer brutally murders New York City Police Commissioner Beckett in the process exploring ugly truths about Beckett. So Beckett's a crooked cop at the top. Batman, Chase Fox, finds himself caught between a police department hit squad and a populace, beginning to see them, the hit squad, as more a hero. I don't know. We'll have to see what the characters are like. But I have not enjoyed this. And it looks like we're going to get more of not Batgirl, not Robin, Tiffany Fox. It does not feel like they're good at branding in this series. Monkey Prince didn't. Nightwing. I'm not reading okay. I have to read Nightwing, but I'm not enjoying it, so I'm not commenting on it. I'm not reading One Star Squadron. Not reading any of the horror stuff. Robin's number 6. Tim Seeley and Baltimore Rivas. Variant cover by David Talaski. We don't have that variant yet. They've been really slow on variants for this one. Took a long time to reveal the first 4, and now we don't have 5 or 6. And it says, this is the final issue. The games are over, and Jenny Wren's traps have finally sprung around the Robins. Can the Teen Wonders unravel the truth behind Jenny's connections to Batman? Or will the first Robin, the true first Robin, finally rip apart the Bat family once and for all? I still think the first Robin thing is going to be a delusion or a fake out. I like the fact that we've got all the Robins again. Number 5 only had 4 Robins. Tim was missing because he's been captured, so he's not going to have a vision. But I'm really interested to see how those visions fit into it. Rogues number 2. Again, I'm not planning on reading this, but I love the fact that they're doing a black label for Flash. I think that's totally awesome. And Josh Williamson, having done 100 issues of Flash, definitely deserves it. Very cool. All right. Scooby-Doo, Suicide Squad. Interesting. Suicide Squad. Dennis Hopeless is staying on Suicide Squad. I wonder where Robbie Thompson's going. Peacemaker and Bloodsport, because we saw that in the movie. That's not Bloodsport. Is that Bloodsport? Okay, Suicide Squad Blaze. This is Black Label by Cy Spurrier, 2 of 3. Wasn't planning on reading this. Interesting how they're focusing so much on Peacemaker, who had no real comic appearances until the movie, which is fine, but like... All right. Superman, Son of Kal-El. Still not reading that. Task Force Z, number 7. And it looks like they've dropped the of 12. I think this originally might have been a miniseries, but they weren't sure. So I think they think it's selling well enough. Number 7, also doing 1 in 26. They're going to do 1 in 25 covers for everything, hoping that it gets them enormous. This is so bad. They're going to build ill will on comic shops and customers. If customers see huge stacks of comics, they feel like no one's into it. Solomon Grundy, Victor Zsasz, Madam Crow, Copperhead. No, these are not this year's nominees for Sexiest Maniac Alive. They are the new recruits for Task Force Z. What does this mean for Red Hood and Bane? Will Mr. Bloom's Lazarus resin heist spell certain doom for the Resurrection Twins? How many rhetorical questions can I possibly squeeze into one paragraph's worth of copy? Answer 1 to the what does this mean for Red Hood and Bane? A lot. Answer 2 to the certain doom for Resurrection Twins? Yes, they're definitely doomed. And 3 rhetorical questions. Bane is very hungry. I don't know. This series has been surprisingly enjoyable. Yep, Eddie Barrow's still on art. So appreciate that fact that he's being consistent. Teen Titans Academy, still not reading that. Flash 781, still Fernando Pasaran. Fortunately, Fernando Pasaran comes with Jason Paz. No, what's his name? Jason Paz is inker. Who's the colorist I like? Jeremy Cox. Really like his colors. Eclipse of War left Wally West stopped dead in his tracks, but a brand new villain has emerged to wreak havoc on the Starless Speedster. A new story arc begins here. I was talking on the Discord of the Batman universe about this title, and they were really not enjoying it. Oh, that's a really cute title. Looks like Wallace and Wally are going to team up in this arc. Very nice. I'm enjoying it because I like the TV writer style. I'm not a Wally or a Flash reader, so maybe that's just because I'm a newbie, and this is for newbies. I can understand why that'd be frustrating, but I enjoy it. The Joker number 14, final issue. So this is final issue, but it's also the end of the first season. All right. James Tynion. Giuseppe Camuncoli doing art. Cam Smith, I think, is doing inks. Cover is by Guillaume March. I like the fact that he came back to do the final cover. I wish he was doing the final issue, but Camuncoli is actually a really pretty solid name artist. Backup by Balin Ortega. Variants by Alan Claw and Balin Ortega. And a variant by James Sticco. All right. And this is getting an incentive too, because why not? We're just going to do incentives till the cows come home. All the hunters converge on the Sampson estate as the brutal conclusion to the first season of The Joker is here. Bullets will fly, blood will be shed, and will James Gordon be forced to make the choice he's been dreading since issue 1 to kill the Joker? He'll have to make the choice. He won't do it because they won't kill the Joker. Punchline backup. Punchline walks free, and the Royal Flush Gang is desperate for a new queen. The underworld of Gotham City is going to change forever, and this last chapter of Punchline is only the beginning. I wonder if Sam Johns is going to continue. We'll have to see. I like this. I am really curious to see how this is going to go. There's so many plots going. I like this punchline cover. I do really like this punchline cover, but and there's the Sticko cover. But I'm getting this one because Guillaume March started the series, and I liked Guillaume March a lot, so I'm going to stick with this to sort of have that continuity. I've gotten some other variants. I haven't gotten all the Guillaume March, but I'm getting most of them because I wish they would do more consistent stuff. Something 12 of 6. Haven't read any of this, but I'm glad it got continued. Wonder Woman Evolution number 6. This art just looks odd to me. She looks like she's got a very tall and narrow face, or like Doug Phillips. Who's the guy who played the gentleman? And he's like Shape of Water. He does all of Guillermo del Toro's stuff. He's a great physical actor who does a lot of prosthetic makeup and full body makeup, and is very difficult, but he's really good at movement and moving very gracefully and weirdly. Apparently he's a super nice guy. World of Krypton. I wonder if this cover is supposed to be black and white, but I read the first issue of this and I was pretty disappointed. It didn't hook me like Venditti has been hooking me. I normally just really get hooked. Maybe I'm just salty because I wanted him to do a Qatar Ol, so the Hawkman who's a Kryptonian. I wish he'd made him like a big supporting character in the series, but no, it's just more Jor-El and Zod and Lara stuff, and Lara's pregnant. So these are collections. Let me double check and see if there's anything really exciting. Urban Legends Volume 2. I do really love this cover. I really love that cover, but I really hate Urban Legends. I don't like this series. Catwoman Fear State. Does this end his run through 38? Yeah, this ends his run. Only 5 issues. They don't even have like the annual in it. I don't like that. Doom Patrol, Justice League New 52 Omnibus Volume 2 is 1,200 pages. And that's the end of my DC Comics April 2022 solicitations. This one took an hour because I actually tried to read the solicitations and talk about reactions to things that are more than just the covers. I do like the covers, but Kill the Justice League, or Death of the Justice League, they're trying to celebrate the 30th anniversary of Death of Superman. It's not going to have the same impact because they've done too many deaths. I know they're going somewhere. This is obviously not the end of a story. They're slimming down the line. That's probably a good choice. They probably need to slim it down quite a bit more. They need to figure out a way to get themselves weaned off of variant covers and Batman to sell. They could figure out a way to sell without those things. It would be really good. But it feels like they're cannibalizing themselves with 4 Aquaman titles and 4 Wonder Woman titles. I think it would be nice if Aquaman and Wonder Woman could sustain it, but when they're not hitting the top 50, that's not good. Because they're A-list characters. They're in movies. They have their own movies. Aquaman did $1 billion. Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 2, well, Wonder Woman 2 actually was very controversial, but Wonder Woman 1, very beloved film. The comics aren't selling well enough to justify 4 different series for them, even if they're miniseries. And they'd probably do better if they were ongoing. So if they could actually do Sensation Comics featuring Wonder Woman again, but it's ongoing instead of anthology, because anthology just kills an ongoing series momentum, I think it would be a really good idea. Don't know if the market can bear it. There's an argument that the argument can't bear Action Comics for Superman at this point, even though the people who are reading Action Comics are really liking it. I am really liking Batgirls. I'm really liking Robin's, even though it's ending. I'm really liking Robin. I'm liking Detective. I'm very concerned about this next arc, or this next direction after Shadows of the Bat, because the co-writer is very untested quality, unknown quality. Love the fact that the art is continuing with Ivan Reis. I like the idea of the backup with Gotham Girl, but I think it's a weird choice to focus on, and I am very distrustful of both the art and the writer for that team. But I will give it a chance because I have to for the podcast. I hope it's good because I have been really enjoying Detective Comics, even though I have only been enjoying the backup in Batman. We'll see if I enjoy Shadow War. I'm more excited for Shadow War than I am about the current thing. I was really excited about the current run, though, when it was in Solicitations, because it had Batman Inc. So it could be that I'm really excited for the ideas that Josh Williamson sells in his Solicitations, but I'm just not a fan of the actual titles. Anyway, sorry to end on a down note. Buy Batgirls. It's really good. If you read it carefully, you'll get through a lot of the stuff that I think people think. I think it's a lot deeper than people say it is. I don't think they're writing them as tweens. The art is, I will say, the art is definitely a more niche thing. I really like the art, but I understand why people don't. It's definitely a more niche thing. Very cartoony, very exaggerated caricatures. I really like the expressiveness and the emotion that I get out of it. And I've been a fan of Jorge Corona since he did We Are Robin, and I really like that series too for art. So that's my reactions. Thank you for watching. It's been a long time. Thanks for sticking with me.